Okay, the purpose of this video is to recap some highlights of what's important from this week. All right, first of all, Tuesday, Wednesday, what we did, we went over basic class rules and expectations. The syllabus is posted. All the extra instructions that are associated with this particular class are posted in either the Tuesday or the Wednesday pages for this week. One thing of note from the course expectations, we do have a class set of graphing calculators available for class use. If you're in the A or B group, you need to have access to a graphing calculator when you're not in class, and if you're in a virtual group, you need access to the calculator all the time. Any TI 83 or 84 will be acceptable. They will get the job done for anything we need to do in this class. The TI 84 CE would be a better option if you're purchasing one. It will match the class set, which means it'll match my videos in terms of keystrokes, and it has a few more features than the other options that, or the other versions of the TI 83s or 84s. All right, also, on Tuesday, Wednesday, you got a 2-page worksheet, or front and back, however you want to think about it, covering two important prerequisites, or two important sets of prerequisite skills, dealing with radical expressions and being able to use the Pythagorean theorem. Okay, hopefully you have that done by now. If for some reason it's still not done, that is due by 11:55 tonight. It is to be submitted through Google Classroom, which is where pretty much everything is going to be submitted. Make sure that you submit it on Tuesday's page, and that's going to be pretty much the standard rule for the entire year. And it's always going to be submitted on the page in which it was assigned. Okay, another standing rule pretty much for the whole year is any assignment you get, reasonable work needs to be shown. How much is reasonable? Well, it depends on the person. Some people are really good with mental math, some people not so much. It is extremely rare for me to give you a worksheet that's all mental math. You need to be showing something in terms of work. The other standing order is if on the document there is enough room to reasonably and neatly show your work, then great. If not, use additional paper as necessary. The other thing we talked about is the online component for this class is edulastic.com. If you haven't joined, you need to get that done as soon as possible. We got 2 assignments that are going live sometime this afternoon that need to be done over the weekend. All right, Tuesday, main thing was we covered our 2 special right triangles, 30, 60, 90, 45, 45, 90. Okay, you either were in class to see or you watched a video on the derivations of those triangles or the relationships in those triangles. You are not responsible for those derivations. What you are responsible for is solving the types of problems that were in the example video, which are basically the same ones that were on that worksheet. One thing that you need to make sure that you're doing with those problems is you're expressing your answers in simplified, reduced radical form. No decimal approximations. You should not be using a calculator for those problems. You're not going to receive credit on quizzes and tests for 30, 60, 90, 45, 45, 90 problems if you give decimal approximation answers. Okay, nothing has to be submitted for Thursday. Okay, now on to Friday, which is today. No new materials being covered. What you are going to do is some practice worksheets that incorporate the basic triangle stuff that we've so far reviewed and other triangles, basic triangle stuff that you should know from previous math classes in terms of how they tend to appear on the SAT, ACTs. Nothing needs to be submitted for today. That's kind of pretty much just for your own practice. Most of you, if not all of you, will be taking the SATs and or the ACTs in the relatively near future. All right, now you have 2 assignments that need to get done over the weekend. Both of them are on edulastic.com. Okay, one of them is the SGO. Similar to most likely what you've done in all your classes since you've been here, you were told it means nothing to your grade, but it is something that you have to do. So you can work your way through that as quickly as you want to, or you can take as much time as you want to, as long as you don't exceed the 1 hour mark. Some of the online assignments that we're going to be doing through Edulastic are going to be timed. And for those timed assignments, you can't start it, save it, and then go back. Once you start it, you need to finish it. So make sure if you plan to spend a full hour, you set that full hour aside. That needs to be done by 11:55 on Sunday night. Okay, the other thing you need to do that does count towards your grade is there is another Edulastic assignment that's up and live. This is what I refer to as just a regular Edulastic assignment. They tend to be worth 10 points. Sometimes they're worth a little bit more. You'll always know in advance. These guys are always going to be graded right or wrong. There is no set time. You can begin it, save it, go back and work on it later, as long as it gets done also by 11:55 on Sunday night. For that particular assignment, it reviews basic algebra skills that you should know for this particular class, but those algebra skills are in SAT format. Again, most of you, if not all of you, will be taking the SATs most likely sometime in the near future. Not that it has anything to do with recapping this week, just so you know where all this is headed. Monday we're going to start actually what will be new to this course, as far as I'll be teaching it as if you haven't seen it before, trigonometry. The beginning stuff that we're going to work on for the first couple of weeks, you should have some familiarity with from either geometry or algebra 2 or both, but I will be teaching it as if you haven't seen it before. For the most part, I'm not a big fan of big, large-scale reviews. If you notice, the stuff that we reviewed before we get into the trig is very targeted. What I'm concentrating on are the most important skills in order to get rolling with the class. Once we get to another part of the class where there are other prerequisite skills that need to be addressed, we'll address those at that time and then move forward.